Welcome back to the Anfield Exchange, and tomorrow night Liverpool take on Aston Villa. Now, it's a chance for Liverpool to go 10 points clear at the top of the league. Arsenal don't play until the weekend. We also play on the weekend, on the Sunday, against Man City. But for now, it could be 10 points clear in the Premier League. Yes, Arsenal will have a game in hand, but it's always better to have the points on the board, as we've heard all season. Now, don't be put off by that Aston Villa draw against Ipswich at the weekend. That was 1-1. The scoreline didn't really tell the story of the game. Aston Villa were by far the better team in that game. They had 25 shots to Ipswich's 4. So it's not going to be an easy game. We know Aston Villa are a very, very good team under Unai Emery. They've strengthened well in January. They've brought in Asensio. They've brought in Daniel Malen. They've brought in Marcus Rashford. And look, we all know Marcus Rashford has had a tough time of things at Man United. I think this loan move could revitalise him. And it would just be our luck for Rashford to start this game and drop an absolute 10 out of 10. Especially if Trent's playing. We know there's history there between Rashford and Trent. I would rather see Rashford on the bench, but we'll wait and see as to where Rashford is in that game. I do think they have got a couple of injury concerns. They've got quite an extensive injury list. Amadou Onana's out, Konsa's out, Matty Cash is out, Pau Torres and Ross Barkley all out. So quite a few defensive frailties there. So is that something that Liverpool can try and capitalise on? You'd like to think so. In terms of Liverpool, we are still sort of in the same place with injuries. Gakpo's not 100% fit at the time of recording this. We'll know more in Arne Slott's press conference. But hopefully Gakpo will be back to start that game. We know Joe Gomez is out. He's likely to be out for a good few weeks. And a positive note, we've got Curtis Jones back from suspension in this game. Now, I do think that Arne Slot would have liked to play Curtis Jones against Wolves. I think this is a game that it's made for Dominic Szoboszlai, and that's what worries me, because we've also got Man City coming up on Sunday. I think you need to find a way to get Curtis Jones in here and rest either Gravenberch or McAllister. I think he will probably rest McAllister and get Jones in the starting lineup. I don't think he's going to go with them same three, because for me, Gravenberch, McAllister and Szoboszlai have to start against Man City. They have to. So you've got to get Curtis Jones in here. I don't think you'll see any other changes in midfield, but we'll go through the predicted lineups later on in this video. Aston Villa, like I said, defensive frailties, couple of injuries. They haven't kept a clean sheet in 7, so it's a good opportunity for Liverpool to go out from the off and try and get a couple of early goals and take the pressure off a little bit. We know that these games now, they're coming thick and fast. They're not getting any easier. But what I will say is we're now coming up to the business end of the season. And this game is not about Aston Villa. This game is about Liverpool. And it's what can Liverpool do. And it doesn't matter how you win. You just have to go out there and try and get the 3 points. And that's what champions have done in the past. We've put some good performances in this season. A lot of very good performances. It's not so much about the performance now. We're getting to that time where it's all about the 3 points. I know we beat Wolves at the weekend. We didn't look too impressive, certainly in the second half. But we got the 3 points, and that's all that matters. Getting them points on the board and trying to maintain that gap from Arsenal. Arsenal are a tough one. They've lost Saka, they've lost Martinelli, they've lost Jesus, and they've lost Havertz. Nwaneri looks like a very, very good player. Sterling, he's not anything to worry about. Trossard, I know people will be fans of Trossard. For me personally, I don't rate him. But what I will say, Arteta found a way in the game we played against Leicester. Mikel Merino came on and played up front, scored 2 goals, and got Arsenal the win. So we can't rest on our laurels in this game. We have to go out there from the off and put in an absolute beast of a performance. And now we're at that stage as well where the pressure's on. The pressure's on Liverpool. The pressure's on Liverpool. The pressure's on Arsenal. It's a case of who's going to blink first, who's going to drop points first. We've recently dropped points against Everton. We're on a 22 game unbeaten run. Arsenal are on a 15 game unbeaten run. It's about trying to maintain that to the end of the season. And yeah, Arsenal look like they've definitely turned a corner. We just need to keep pumping away, keep picking up the points, and keep Arsenal within touching distance. Like keep them at arm's length, and just try and pick up as many points as we can. We have got a tough run coming up for the rest of February, but then from March, I think there's only a couple of games in March that we play, and I know the Champions League draws still to be made yet. So in terms of Premier League football in March, there's not too much of it. So yeah, we have to make these games in February count. And look, the worrying thing is Arsenal take on West Ham on Saturday. I think that's going to be 3 points for them. We take on Villa, obviously, tomorrow night. And then we've got Man City on Sunday. If we're not at the races for these two games, and I'm looking worst case scenario here, if Arsenal win and we get beat tomorrow against Villa and we get beat against City as well, Arsenal could be 4 points off us with a game in hand. That's how close it could be by the end of this week. Granted, the next game for Arsenal after that is away to Nottingham Forest, who are sound defensively. We've witnessed that this season. That's one that I'm earmarking for Arsenal to potentially drop points. And on that weekend, we're at home to Newcastle. So, look, it's not going to be easy, but we just have to keep plucking away. We need to keep rotating and keep the momentum of the squad going, even despite the rotation that we're going to have to do. We need to somehow keep the fluidity of Liverpool's squad that we've had all season. I'm confident we can do it, but obviously I'll be more confident after these 3 weeks are over and we're still top of the league. In terms of key battles for this one, obviously we've already spoke about Rashford potentially causing us some issues with Trent. Like I said, they've got history. I think Morgan Rogers is going to be a big one as well. Such a good player is Morgan Rogers. I'm a big fan of him. You don't really see it in the Premier League anymore, or in football. Just a player who can pick the ball up and take 2 or 3 players on and make something happen at the other end. I think Gravenberch is going to have his work cut out. He needs to be strong. He needs to be on it all game. His concentration levels need to be high, and he needs to be the one that can sort of dismantle Rodgers and stop him from playing his game. That's not to say Aston Villa haven't got other threats. Obviously, Ollie Watkins is a very, very good player, a goal threat as well. We got Malen, like I said, they got Asensio, we got Rashford, they got Leon Bailly. They've got a lot of good players. Ramsey as well, Jacob Ramsey on the wing. I like him as well. Yeah, it's not going to be easy. I'm going to go through the predicted lineup now. I would like to be in a position where we can rotate, and we didn't do that too much at the weekend against Wolves. I'm not expecting to see too much rotation in this game either. I think if Slot had any intentions of rotating over these next couple of games, I think we'd have probably seen it at Wolves. Obviously, that didn't help with the Curtis Jones sending off against Everton, made him suspended. In terms of my predicted lineup, I think Arne Slot's going to go for easy one, Alisson in goal. We're going to be looking at Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back. I think Konate and Van Dijk centre back. What I will say about Konate recently in the last few games, he looks to me like he's playing on the edge. He's playing a very risky game in terms of the small fouls that he's committing, and yeah, I'd like to see him just be a bit more subdued, Don't go into everything 100 miles an hour. Like, think about what you're doing. No doubts that them two are our best two defenders. So yeah, he's going to go Trent, Canate, Van Dijk. I actually think he's going to go Costas for this one. I think he's going to want to play Robertson against Man City. So I think Costas will come in for this one. And that's fine with me. I think they're of a similar level. I think when Andy Robertson is on it, he's better than Costas, but for me, he's not on it enough. So I'd say them two are at a similar level. Midfield, as we've touched upon, I think he's going to go Gravenberch and Jones in the double pivot. I think he's going to go Szoboszlai in the cam position as a slightly more advanced midfielder to make those runs into the box. I think we'll get more. I think playing Jones in that role will enable us to get more men forward. I think Jones is very good at playing that box-to-box role and then getting back and helping Gravenberch as well. So yeah, I think Gravenberch, Jones and Szoboszlai. And then up front, Salah, obviously a no-brainer. We'll see where Gakpo's at. I think if Gakpo is fit, I think he starts. But if not, we're going to go with Diaz again and maybe save Gakpo for the Man City game. I think that will be in Slot's thoughts. For me, this game it's teed up for Darwin Núñez. I know Jota played at the weekend against Wolves. I thought he did an okay job. He did quite well in the first half. But I just feel like this game, there's going to be space. The reason, look, you play Jota if you're playing a team that play with three centre-backs like Wolves did. Somebody who's a bit of a fox in the box. Somebody who can just appear and get his head on something and maybe create a chance that way. I think against Aston Villa with a back four, I think we're going to find a lot more space than what we did against Wolves. So for me, I think this is set up perfectly for Núñez. And look, Núñez needs to start contributing to this run now. I know he had the 2 goals against Brentford, and it was another false dawn. He hasn't kicked on from there. Not to say he has had ample opportunities, but he needs to kick on. If he starts this game, which I think he will, I want to see a Núñez goal. And do you know what? I think we will see a Núñez goal. That's my prediction. So yeah, in terms of score prediction, I hate to say it, I don't think we win this game. I've gone for a 2-2 draw. Obviously, my prediction is that Núñez scores, but I just think this will be... I think this will be a tougher game for us than the Man City game, if I'm honest. Yeah, I'm going to predict a 2-2 score draw. Would I be happy with a point? It would all depend on what we went and did against Man City. I would like to get 3 points out of these next 2 games, a win and a draw. At the minimum, we need 3 points, so a win and a loss. I would like to take the pressure off Man City by going to get the win here, but I do think this will be a tough game for us, and I think we're going to end in a draw. Let me know what your score predictions are. Let me know who you think's going to score in this game. I'll see you on the next one.